We all miss Jerry Conley, and I do not think that he would want us to be passive in our questioning here today. Mr. Chairman, it's our job to oversee the State Department. You can't do that by having think tank witnesses come before us. Our job isn't to oversee the think tanks. In 2023, we had 44 government witnesses. This year, we have our first, and I hope very much that we have all not only the secretary, but the undersecretaries and assistant secretaries so that we can really do our job. Secretary Rubio, in the 1970s, there was a powerful Middle East monarch who claimed to be a friend of the United States. Wasn't, may very well have been, claimed to be at least agreeable to Israel. And so in the 1970s, we transferred enormous, sophisticated weapons to him. In 1979, the Shah was deposed, and all those weapons were in the hands of the Ayatollah. Today, MBS wants a nuclear weapon. But he says what he wants is a nuclear cooperation agreement. Well, we have a nuclear cooperation agreement with the United Arab Emirates and Turkey and Morocco that all provide for a gold standard of safety. Can you assure us that you will not enter into a nuclear cooperation agreement with Saudi Arabia that does not have that same gold standard of security to make sure they're not building a nuclear weapon?
Well, drawing on that precedent, Sherman pointed to the present day, where Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman of Saudi Arabia had made it clear that he wanted nuclear technology. While the Saudi leadership might frame it as a peaceful nuclear cooperation agreement, Sherman emphasized that such an agreement, if not bound by the strictest safety standards, could open the door to the eventual creation of nuclear weapons. He contrasted this with existing U.S. agreements with the United Arab Emirates, Turkey, and Morocco, all of which contained what he described as the gold standard for nuclear safety. These agreements ensured that while civilian nuclear technology could be used for energy and other peaceful purposes, there would be no capacity for enriching uranium or producing plutonium that could be weaponized. Sherman's concern was that if Saudi Arabia were granted a less restrictive deal, it would set a dangerous precedent and undermine decades of non-proliferation policy.
Well, first I will tell you that there has been no conversation about entering into one. For example, during the recent trip.
Can you? I've got limited time.
So here's the thing. I can
Sir,
tell you.
Either give me a yes, give me a no.
Well, I'm going to give you my answer if you want my answer.
I want a yes
this is not
or
a
no.
game show.
Reclaiming my time.
Well, reclaim your time, but it's not a game show. I get to answer. These are complex questions. Let me answer.
Mr. Secretary, I'm reclaiming my time. The filibustering takes place in the Senate, not here.
I'm not filibustering. I'm trying to answer your question.
You're trying. Let's go on to the next question. With regard to Iran, can you assure us that you will continue sanctions on Iran until they verifiably agree to abandon all enrichment? That's a yes or no question.
No, it's not.
However, the Secretary refused to give such a straightforward response, instead explaining that the matter was far more complex than a binary choice could capture. He began to outline the administration's broader diplomatic approach, but Sherman, clearly dissatisfied, interrupted and accused him of avoiding the question. This tension was heightened by Sherman's repeated attempts to reclaim his time, underscoring his belief that the Secretary's reluctance to answer plainly was itself an answer. Sherman argued that the stakes were too high for ambiguity, emphasizing that if Iran retained any ability to enrich uranium, the possibility of them producing nuclear weapons would always remain on the table. He also pointed to the dangers of mixed signals in diplomacy, where adversaries might interpret nuanced or conditional statements as a sign of weakness or willingness to compromise on core security principles. The Secretary countered that their position was that an acceptable deal with Iran was one in which enrichment would not be permitted, but he did not bind the administration to the exact enforcement mechanism or timeline Sherman demanded. This was not enough for Sherman, who drew attention to the past failures of the previous administration, implying that the current leadership might be headed down a similar path by leaving room for interpretation.
No, it's not.
Well, can you give me a yes or no? Or should I go on to the next question?
We believe that Iran should not be allowed to enrich uranium. Correct.
You believe that it should?
We believe that an acceptable deal with Iran is one in which they cannot enrich, because if they can enrich, they can weaponize.
I know why we don't want. I asked you, will we agree? Will we continue the sanctions until they verifiably agree to get rid of?
Oh, you have no worry about us. The worry was the previous administration. This administration has been
refusal to give me an answer is loud and clear.
No, I
is
like
reclaiming my time. Mr. Chair, you told us about all these wonderful business deals that were announced in the Middle East. It's reminiscent of the first year of the first term of Donald Trump, where he announced a $10 billion investment by Foxconn in Wisconsin. It is still an empty field.
These included a $400 million plane deal and a $2 billion investment from Abu Dhabi into a cryptocurrency venture tied to Trump, which Sherman portrayed as emblematic of a corrupt nexus between foreign money and political gain. The allegations did not stop there. Turning to the issue of TikTok, Sherman reminded the secretary that they had once worked together to ensure the app was not controlled by the Chinese Communist Party, leading to a law that required a ban once certain deadlines expired. Yet, despite these provisions, Sherman claimed that instead of a decisive ban, Chinese linked interests associated with TikTok had transferred $300 million into what he derisively called Trump coin. To him, this was not a legitimate investment, but a gift of pure monopoly money, a term he used to underscore its lack of intrinsic value and its purpose as a vehicle for influence. He accused the administration of effectively allowing this to happen and challenged the secretary directly, asking if there was any statute the administration would not violate in exchange for a $300 million bribe from China. This was not framed as a casual question, but as a rhetorical strike meant to imply deep systemic compromise. Sherman then moved to UZ, connecting it to what he considered a dangerous pattern of decisions, benefiting the powerful at the expense of vulnerable populations. He criticized Elon Musk for what he described as chainsawing the agency's resources, claiming Musk had insisted no lives were lost as a result of these cuts. Sherman forcefully rejected that assertion, arguing that people had, in fact, died as a direct consequence.
We next focus on USAID. Musk gutted it. He said no one died as a result. Do you agree that no one has died yet as a result of the chainsawing of USAID? Yes or no?
I'm sorry, the question is, has anyone what?
Has anyone in the world died because of what Elon Musk did?
Listen.
Yes or no, reclaiming my time. If you won't answer, that's a loud answer.
No one has died because of USAID.
The people who have died as a result of cutting off the oxygen of a woman in Burma and denying HIV/AIDS treatment to those in Africa. They are dead now at the hands of Elon Musk and his co-conspirators.
Chair now recognizes Representative Wilson from South Carolina.